I believe I am now entering my mocktail phase. Hello, happy Friday. My name is Camden and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be reading some of my most anticipated books of the year. I polled my audience, aka I called my sister, and I asked her what books out of all of the most anticipated books of the year, books that I've talked about in my videos, she would be most interested in seeing me read, and she gave me some valuable feedback. So let me show you the books that we're going to be reading this week. The first book that I have is my absolutely most anticipated book of the year, and that is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this book a bunch of times already on this channel, but I'm super excited to read this one. I really loved the first book that I read by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I'm excited to continue on with some of her books. The next book that I have is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I've read a couple of Alice Feeney's books and I had kind of mixed feelings on a couple of them, but I did really enjoy Rock, Paper, Scissors by her, which is the one that I read most recently. So I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds like it's gonna be a fun time, and it's kind of got "and then there were none" undertones to it. And then the last book that I have is one that I have not even opened yet, so I'm gonna do that now. And that is The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. This one is one that I spoke about in my summer releases video. In fact, all of these were in my summer releases video, but it was the one that my sister was most excited to see me read. So those are the three books that we're going to be reading in this video. Hello, I am back with a reading update for The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I am about 160 pages into this book, which is a little bit over halfway, and so far I feel like it's completely living up to the very high expectations that I set for it. Throughout this book, we're following two different characters. We're following Carlotta, who is the daughter of the doctor, and we're also following Montgomery, who is her father's right-hand man and helps him run the laboratory and the farm. These two characters really have very different perspectives on everything that's going on. Carlotta comes off as very naive and having kind of rose-colored glasses when it comes to her perspective on her father and his experiments and hybrids and the farm as a whole. And Montgomery is a lot more cynical and negative. He also has a very big drinking problem, so he's a little bit of an unreliable narrator in that way. At the point of the book where I'm at, we're really starting to see the cracks in the foundation of this story and of the doctor's experiments, and we're also starting to see the doctor's true colors shining through. He's very abusive and controlling, and he has a very interesting sense of disregard for his daughter and her well-being throughout the book, which is really interesting because she views him so lovingly and respectfully. And you can tell through his actions that he really views her as like a pawn in his game. So it's interesting that we can kind of see that more through Montgomery's perspective than we do through hers, because she really does have this rosy view of everything going on. My biggest lingering question right now is whether this book is going to become a true horror novel, or whether it's going to remain kind of this gothic dark sci-fi that it seems to be right now, because I've seen this book categorized as horror on some people's lists, but I'm just not sure. I feel like horror always gets miscategorized, so I'm interested to see how dark this book will go and where this author is going to take it, and I'm enjoying the ride. So that is the update on this book, and I will check in with you guys again probably when I've finished it. Hello, I am back with the final reading update for The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This book I ended up finishing a couple of days ago, and I really enjoyed it for what it was, but there are a lot of things that this book wasn't. I feel personally that a book's publisher and its marketing team can really make or break the success of a book depending on what books they compare it to, who they have blurb it, what they decide to market it as, and what genre they end up putting it in. This book is not horror. It's not thriller. It's hardly even science fiction. I would just say it's a fictional book with some sci-fi elements to it, and to market it as horror is a complete misleading statement, and it's really going to do a disservice to this book because it's not going to be able to find its audience. If you enjoy fiction, if you enjoy books that explore character dynamics and books that explore the morality and the ethics of scientific experiments, and you enjoy a very light speculative element, a very light sci-fi element, this book is more for you than if you were someone who went into this book expecting a horror book or something deeply sci-fi or plot twists or anything like that. I enjoyed the characters in this book. I enjoy how things really look different through the eyes of Carlotta as they do for Montgomery. I enjoyed how over time we start to realize how the Doctor is the only monster in this book and everyone else has more of a human nature and heart and soul than he does. Overall, 4 stars for this book. I love Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I'm going to read every book that she has ever written. And now I am moving on to The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. And I also was able to pick up the audiobook of Daisy Darker. So I will have an update for both of those for you soon. See you then. Hello, I am back with a final reading update for both Daisy Darker and The Drowned Woods. I'm going to keep my reviews of both pretty brief just for the sake of time, but starting off with Daisy Darker, I finished this book a few days ago. I listened to it on audiobook, and I have to say this one is either my favorite thriller of the year or in the top 3. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was excellently written. It is my favorite Alice Feeney book so far, out of the ones that I have read at least. I will say I went into this book kind of with expectations that it was going to be a bit of a comedic take on And Then There Were None, but as it turns out it was way more graphic and violent and gruesome than what I had imagined. There are a lot of violent, gruesome deaths in this book, and there's also some post-mortem posing of bodies, so if that would be disturbing to you, this book might not be for you. However, the plot twists of this book, the writing in this book, the flawed yet still sympathetic characters in this book, unmatched. I really, really love this one. Definitely pick it up and read it if you enjoy a dark seaside thriller. As for The Drowned Ones, I thought this one was a very fun, fast-paced heist novel. I ended up giving it a 4-star. I think where it lacked was in character development. We only got to know a few of the characters who were involved in this heist. We got to know the spy master a little bit. We got to know Mare, who was our primary narrator in this book and a water diviner. And we also got to know Fane, who used to work for the Fae people of this realm. I would have liked to get to know all of these characters a bit better, delve more into their backstories, get to know their personalities, what motivates them, what scares them, all of that good stuff. But more than that, we had a couple of other characters who were part of the crew for this heist that we never really got to know at all beyond just their names and their purposes for being there. And I think getting to know those characters would have made for a richer story with more depth to it. However, for what it was, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fast-paced, compulsively readable, and I had a good time reading it. It kind of felt like a good entry back into getting into more fantasy for me. So I did enjoy this book a lot. I just thought it could have done a bit more, and that's why it's getting a 4-star. That being said, that is going to be it for this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching it. I feel like this reading vlog was quite successful compared to some of my other ones as far as enjoying the books that I read, so that was a nice change of pace for me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all of your support. If you could take a few minutes to like this video, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend who loves reading, I would really appreciate it, and I will see you all in a new video next week. Goodbye.